after months of you guys requesting I make a video on the PSP, I decided it's finally time to revisit one of the best handheld consoles for its time. Selling over 75 million units over its lifetime, it definitely left its mark on the gaming industry, acting as a really good way to play some of the best games in a fully portable form factor, and did so pioneering so many services that are taken for granted today. The PSP acted as Sony's main introduction into the portable gaming market, becoming a direct competitor to Nintendo, who just released their DS in 2004. The PSP was the more powerful system, and acted as a portable gateway for people to play some of PlayStation's greatest games. The PSP was a really revolutionary console, and here's why you should pick one up in 2022.
This is probably the most challenging record you have ever put on your turntable.
First of all, in order to understand why you need to buy a PSP, we must dive into how such a great system was made, to understand the context of why you need one. Sony first announced the development of the PlayStation Portable at the press conference during E3 2003. Although early production models were not yet presented, Sony released extensive technical details. CEO Ken Kutaragi called the device the Walkman of the 21st century, a reference to the console's multimedia capabilities, as it was going to feature internet, music, and movie playback. In the 1990s, Nintendo had dominated the handheld market since launching its Game Boy in 1989. According to an IDC analyst in 2004, the PSP was the first legitimate competitor to Nintendo's dominance in the handheld market. The first concept images of the PSP appeared at Sony's corporate strategy meeting in November of 2003, and featured a model with flat buttons and no analog joystick. Although some reviewers expressed concern about the lack of an analog joystick, these fears were allayed when the PSP was officially unveiled at Sony's press conference during E3 2004. Sony released a list of 99 developer companies that pledged support for the new handheld. Several game demos such as Konami's Metal Gear Acid and Studio Liverpool's Wipeout Pure were also shown at the conference. The PSP's advanced graphic capabilities made it a popular mobile entertainment device, where it could connect to a PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3 consoles, as well as any computer with a USB interface and other PSP systems, as well as the internet. The PSP also had a vast array of multimedia features such as video playback, and so has been considered a portable media player as well. The PSP is the only handheld system to use the optical disc format, known as UMDs, or Universal Media Discs. On October 17, 2004, Sony announced the PSP's launch date and a starting price. Soon after, the PSP was released on December 12, 2004 for a starting price of $249. The initial release of the PSP was met with critical success, as it sold 200,000 units on its first day. The PSP received generally positive reviews soon after its launch. Most reviewers noted similar strengths and weaknesses. CNET awarded the system 8.5 out of 10 and praised the console's powerful hardware and multimedia capabilities. Many reviewers loved the console because it offered many features that were not common on portable gaming systems from 2004. The PSP was initially seen as superior to the Nintendo DS when both devices were released in 2004. The PSP was the beefier system, but third-party developers preferred the DS as it had touchscreen capabilities and wireless uses. There were other things I could have mentioned about the PSP, such as its horrendous marketing campaign in the Netherlands, which was, well, racially charged. But since I'm not trying to get more hurt feelings from Twitter, I'll leave that up to you guys to look up. The PSP had quite beefy specs for its time, and really challenged Nintendo and their outdated specs seen on the Nintendo DS. The PSP 1000 featured a MIPS R4000 CPU clocked at 333 MHz, 32 MB of RAM, a surface rendering engine for the GPU, 32 MB included flash memory cards, and a 480 by 272 pixel LCD screen, as well as Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connectivity. The PSP launched with the 1000 model. Soon after, Sony released 4 other models. It involved the 2000, 3000, PSP Go, and E1000. All of them had little redesigns, but the later models from the PSP Go had drastic redesigns, which changed the whole system. The system I have here is the 1000, and for a device from 2004, I really love the design. It's sleek and modern and also has a glossy finish which adds to that look. Overall, it's pretty slim and can fit into any pocket, although you may want to get a screen protector, because the screen can scratch really easily. On the front of the system, you have the gamepad buttons such as the triangle, circle, square, and X as well as the D-pad and joystick. It has the same button layout as the PS2 and PS3 controllers, so coming from those controllers will be easy. It has start and select and multimedia buttons, as well as the home and volume buttons. On the back, you have the disc eject and the battery compartment, as well as the memory card holder. To power on the system, you had to slide up the button on the side. The PSP 1000 has a really nice design, where all the buttons are in a perfect placement for any beginners to get comfy with. The screen was quite big for the time, but lacks resolution and color accuracy. Compared to today, the screen is a bit small and lacks definition. It also features ghosting, where the refresh rate can't keep up, so the image fades around. For the time, it was a good screen, but compared to today, it's a bit outdated. Overall, it's comfortable to hold and can stay that way for long gaming sessions. The UI of the system is very reminiscent of the PS3 X and B UI, with it being practically the same with just a few visual tweaks. You have all your basic menus like video, game, music, and much more. The PSP used to have a network support where you could connect to the internet, but now that has been discontinued, so it's permanently an offline system for now. One of the big reasons to buy a PSP is remote play, as you can connect your PSP to a PS3 console and play PS3 games on the portable system. I haven't tried it personally, but it works quite well, and this trend has stuck to later PSP models like the PS Vita. Remote play still works and is a solid reason to not only own a PSP, but also a PS3, so you can get those dubs on BO1 zombies. The battery lasts for about 8 hours of usage, but under load, like in games, that goes down to 5 hours, which is still really good in 2021. Another feature that the PSP came with is the ability to play movies with the UMD discs. Now, this was actually a thing that Sony pushed, so that you could watch movies on the go. But the UMD was so obsolete by the point of the late 2000s because of online media, so UMD were kind of like a fad for about 5 years. Now let's talk about one of the biggest selling points of the PSP, the games. The PSP had no shortage of really good titles, like we're talking about God of War Chains of Olympus, GTA Liberty City Stories, Metal Gear Solid, Wipeout Pure, and many more. Plus, you have remote play, so you could extend that library of games to the PS3. The games I played the most out of were definitely GTA Liberty City Stories. When it came to old school GTA games, I never have really been a fan, but until I got my hands on this title, it really made me want to play all the old GTA games on the PS2 and before. Now, this is a PSP port from the PS2, so graphics were turned down a bit, but still the game runs really well. Liberty City Stories takes place in the 1998 with a fictional Liberty City, and forms part of the 3D universe canon of the GTA series. Gameplay is still really nice in the portable form factor, but due to the screen, the game suffers from some ghosting when a lot of action happens. Although this was fixed on later models of the PSP. Driving around Liberty City, not really caring about much, is what made the game so fun, and just enjoying the open world game is really captivating for some reason. I got the game in very good condition and practically like new, and it came with all the original paperwork such as start guides and a poster. I also had Need for Speed Most Wanted, which is a really fun open world racing game. It's very similar to other racing games like on the PS2, so it's still fun, and even better when it's on the go. We also saw a Silent Hill game get released on the PSP, which had Silent Hill Origins. I heard it was alright, but I never got a copy. As usual, the PSP has some really good homebrewing capabilities, and you could chuck as many games as you want on the single memory card, but it is recommended to buy at least a couple gigabytes in terms of cards. The PSP, when homebrewed depending on the software, could emulate older consoles like the N64, Game Boy Advance, and even the Nintendo DS. To recap, the PSP is a pretty solid console to pick up today. It plays not only PSP games, but also PS2 ports, and even PS3 games through remote play. You can also expand that to homebrewing, which unlocks so much emulation potential, which kind of turns this into the ultimate way to play games on the go from that generation. While some games look dated compared to today, it still has the enjoyment aspect and works very well. Sure, the whole movie aspect is a fad, but who's buying a PSP just to watch Knight's Tale? The system is great for its UI system, which is really easy to use and navigate. Overall, a really solid system that I believe that anyone should pick up right now, especially when it comes to portable consoles. But buying this PSP will ensure that you can play and also emulate majority of the older generation of games. Anyway, this has been Nathan Hines, and I hope to see you all in the next video.